I don't know. That's what I thought. All right. If I can please get everybody's attention, we'll go ahead and call tonight's Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 legislative session to order. And before we can actually begin the meeting, we are actually going to have to, I'll turn it over to Dan for the first item.
As I guess I can't call you chair, acting chair.
Yeah.
Bowman indicated, the first item on the agenda is election of the new chair. The process for that is in the council rules. The first step is that the clerk calls for nominations from the council. A council member can nominate one person. If you are nominated, you don't have to accept the nomination. You can state if you do not wish to. You should please state, so it will be recorded in the minutes that you decline. Due to the various ethical rules, it's advisable not to nominate yourself or to vote for yourself. The reason for that is that the chair does make more money than the council members, and that can be construed as using your office for your own personal gain, which is a problem under the ethics rules. So, Ms. Moses.
I would like to call for nominations.
Just with a hand raise?
Yep, we'll go down.
I'll nominate Larry Bowman.
If you can just raise your hand if you would like to make a nomination. You don't have to nominate anyone more than once. This is just nominating.
Yeah. And then
so
Bill.
If there's anyone else, if there's anyone that would like to nominate another member to be chair, go ahead. And I see Mr. Campbell's hands up.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes, I would like to nominate Jennifer Morton for chair.
Hey, Dan, real quick. I see Cassandra is logging on, so I'm not sure how much of the process she caught or whether or not she can hear any of what's going on.
Okay, we'll just brief her. Cassandra, are you on now? All right, we got you. Cassandra, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we're just going to repeat kind of what just happened here. Mr. Gibbons.
The council rules provide for how the chair is elected. Larry Bowman was nominated. Jennifer Morton was nominated. The process is from that point on, once there's two nominees, they're written ballots. And so for Mr. Campbell and Ms. Quisnell, your vote is recorded in the minutes. It's not a secret vote. So I suppose to just enable this to occur, if you either want to email me, if you just want to be called on and say who your vote will be for, I will write it down for you on the ballots that I have. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me pass out the ballots here.
And Dan, for reference as well as you pass the ballots out, we did make it feasible for both Cassandra and Bill to put their vote in the chat to Tara, to the clerk treasurer, if that's preferred.
That's perfectly fine with me. I would just fill out a ballot form anyway, just to make sure it's you have it recorded.
I don't have one. Thank you. I mean, I have to at least vote.
I should have mentioned also that you can abstain if you would like to not vote for anyone, or if you were one of the nominees. Perfectly acceptable.
Can we give them to you?
I can collect them.
And then Tara. And then the vice chair is not going to be for another month or so? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, in terms of the vice chair, I believe that's not due until March of 27. Stavin was appointed of March 2025.
Where it was on.
Jennifer.
I actually like
And
that.
Larry.
Okay, I've collected the votes, and Miss Moses, if you can please announce the tabulation of the vote, please.
Certainly. We have Larry Bowman with 4. Jennifer Morton with 1. A none, and then a Davin Perry. But
I think Miss Morton had 2. Or did I get that wrong? She had 1. A 1 and a none. Okay, all right. Sorry. And it's for a majority, so a majority of 6 is 4. So Mr. Bowman has been elected chair. And Miss Moses, if you can please record the votes in the minutes.
yes.
We're done.
All right. Thank you, guys. Well, now I guess I can call the meeting to order, right? At 5:39 p.m. If I could please get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We just like to remember the council of our shared beliefs of being open and honest, and that'll bring us in a roll call.
All right. So roll call, Larry Bowman,
Present.
Davin Perry,
Present.
Cassandra Quesnell. Present. Carrie Bro,
Present.
Bill Campbell,
Present.
Jesse Camacho,
Present.
and Jennifer Morton.
Present.
And let the record show the following staff in attendance. We have Katie Dorman, Corporate Administrator, Pete Fish, Project Manager, Catherine Miller, Public Works Director, Heather Troutman, Building and Planning Director, Chief Richmond, Dan Gibbons, City Attorney, and myself, Finance Director. And Albert Tripp, our City Manager.
All right. Thank you, Tara. All right, that'll move us into item 5, which is tonight's agenda approval. Mr. Tripp, any calls for changes?
No, there are no proposed changes to the agenda this evening.
All right, council, what would we like to do about tonight's agenda?
Move to approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Any questions or comments? Seeing any, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then, okay, Cassandra, was that your hand up? You are really small on that screen, so if I could get you to. Okay, all right. That is approved unanimously. That'll move us on to, I don't see anything for announcements and presentations, council reports.
Any
Gift online, Mr. Campbell or Bisnell, you got anything?
All right, staff reports. Anybody in the back seat? Chief? Mr. Gibbons?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Albert?
Looks frozen.
Yes, thank you, Tara. I do have one addition, and council also want to circle back in terms of agenda additions as well. I believe it was on Friday, if not Saturday, that I shared a copy of a briefing sheet pertaining to an action that we're requesting the council be briefed on this evening relating to the city's Well 9 project. This is the one with the GAC filtration on. So I just wanted to reference, if we can add that to the agenda, we'd like to brief the council on that and then request action later on in your agenda. Other than that, I don't have a staff report.
All right, well, council, we do have the one agenda approval, so go back into item 5. Can I get an approval of this one agenda item?
Move to amend the agenda with the water treatment plant operator council briefing.
All right, a motion. Do I have a second? All right, a second. Thank you, Carrie. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passed unanimously. Okay, and then I did have one thing. Sorry. So we had some stuff happen within our family. My mother is diagnosed with cancer. She actually has surgery next Monday, so I will be out of here for. I leave on Thursday, and I'm just going to go home for about a week. So I'll miss this following Monday, and then possibly the Monday after that to be by my mom's side while she's going through everything. So if we could get some prayers for our family, that would be much, much appreciated with that. And so, yeah, I will miss the next 2 weeks, and that's all that I had. All right, and then council report, staff reports, no call for a public hearing. So item 10 is going to be our consent agenda. Item A of the consent agenda is a request for the approval of minutes for December 15th. A request for item B is going to be from our January 12th study session minutes. And item C is the purchase approval registry in the amount of $71,140.15 to Payne Hamlin. Council, what would we like to do about tonight's consent agenda?
Is this supposed to be? Is that item C you're talking about?
Yeah, so all the consent agenda items are items that need to be approved by us. And this is just on the purchase approval registry. This is a payment that's already going out. We just have to approve that amount because it's over a certain time. And Tara, would you like to explain?
So actually, Payne Hamlin is when you approve before we pay it as requested.
Oh, this one is before we pay. Okay. So yeah, and there will be items on the consent agenda. You know, I've seen it to where we have, 16 payment items on there that all we have to approve before they go out. I thought that it was after the fact.
Most of them are after the fact, and that's when the long list that is after the fact. Payne Hamlin is the only one currently that's before.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we just have to get approval from the council for those payments, and then also for the meeting minutes for us to approve. That's why they're actually in our agenda as well. so that we can ensure their accuracy and look them over and make sure that they're good. Any questions, Mr. Camacho?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so I got a motion. I don't know, did I?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, thank you, Mr. Camacho. Any questions or comments about the consent agenda? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is approved unanimously. That'll move us on to action item D. So that'll move us into action items. Item D is going to be the fire department acceptance of the Spokane Tribal IMF 2026 grant award. Mr. Tripp, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Chair and Council. The proposal before you is to accept a grant award for the fire department in the amount of $75,000. This was made to the Spokane Tribe Impact Mitigation Fund, who recently met, considered various applications, and awarded the fire department with the $75,000.
All right, council, what would we like to do about item D?
Move to approve item D.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Morton, thank you so much. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
That passed unanimously, and that'll move us on to item E, Police Department Acceptance of Spokane Tribal IMF 2026 Grant Award. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair.
All right, council, what would you like to do about item E?
Move to approve the acceptance of Spokane Tribe IMF 2026 grant award.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? You guys retire, you pick. All right. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Question.
Oh,
And it's not like, so for those of us that are new, you said that there was equipment that you were wanting to purchase. Where can I go back and find that? Or do you know, like off the top of your head, just a general? I just need short. Okay. All right. Thank you.
yeah, because last year, what was the grant fund amount that you guys actually got awarded in total as a police department? 95.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Tripp, go ahead.
Oh, just for reference, we can't hear Chief Richmond online.
Now it is. How's that, sir?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so the chief was just stating last year that. And the chief was just stating last year that they got around $95,000 this year, $100,000. He was asking for our approval of this grant. So we had a motion, a second, a question. Harry and Chief said he'll carry all the information that she requests on that. And with that, is there any further questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passed unanimously. Move us on to court's acceptance of the Spokane Tribe IMF 2026 Grant Award. Mr. Tripp, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Chair and council, I'm sure you see a theme occurring. This represents the application that court applied for the Spokane Tribe Impact Mitigation Fund, and the Spokane Tribe also awarded courts $15,000. So we're asking council to consider accepting this particular grant award as well.
All right, council, what would we like to do about the acceptance of the IMF grant for courts?
Move to approve acceptance of Spokane Tribe IMF 2026 grant award for the courts.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second, any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that too is also awarded unanimously. All right, that'll move us on to the appointment of
Aye.
council. Yes? Yeah. Oh, he has a delay. Okay. Sorry about that, Mr. Campbell. You're extremely delayed. I can see your hand, the thumb up. So it may be small on the screen, but I can see it now. All right. So that'll move us into item H, which is going to be the council for the committees and boards. Mr. Tripp, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Council, this particular proposal relates to council's both internal and external assignment of members to serve on various committees. I'll just quickly highlight some of the internal committees that are on the agenda for your consideration here in this item. They include the Finance Ad Hoc, Public Safety Ad Hoc, Community and Economic Development Ad Hoc, Public Works Ad Hoc, to name a few. Those are the four standing ones internally that tend to meet and also require at a minimum 3 council members to be appointed to it. There are also several external committees and commissions that meet. The council is asked to discuss and consider appointing members to serve on those as well. And I would ask, as you identify the respective members, I'm going to be recording those by hand. So if you could be patient with me as I write down those names, I'll get them recorded.
Is there any way we can bring up the list online on screen as well? And then did everybody on council have a chance to kind of go through, especially the newer members, go through the list and see kind of what you would like to be on and not be on? And
Was
yeah,
there,
the list was from last week that
we actually had a list? I mean, did we have it like this or
Yes.
was it on screen?
it was sent out.
in our packet.
It was in the packet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last week.
So I
And-
see that the
and
list
they-
is
and they
missing
all-
from the agenda packet.
Yeah, and that's also something too that, you know, traditionally when the clerk treasurer sends out our packets, they'll do it in 2 forms. They'll do like a quick abbreviated packet that just outlines kind of what we have printed for us in front of us. And then they'll usually send out a full packet that will have every item attachment, everything that we need in it as well. So, and Mr. Tripp, is there I mean, if council is comfortable and they need more time for this, can we move it to the next city council meeting? And
Absolutely.
And I will try to attend online. If not, you can just keep me on the same ones I'm on. But would that work for everybody to give a couple more weeks to kind of go through it and whatnot? Mr. Campbell, does that work for you? And the same thing? So there's no.
Absolutely.
Jesse, I also emailed it to you directly, your city email.
Oh, yeah, and see, that's why, because I'm still waiting on my Surface Pro and I don't get that email at home, so. Yeah.
Okay, and then can we get Jesse kind of a printout of how to log in online too? Because there's a web-based, you could actually just type it into a web address and log in that way as well. So you'll have access not just on your laptop, but from anything that you have internet access on.
Yeah.
Yes.
As far as emails through Outlook, yeah, I never try to mix my home PC up with what we do here, but Yeah, I can do that. I can go into Outlook and open up an account so I can get whatever.
Well, at that point, you
emails I
don't
need.
even have to open an account if it's on the online one.
Yeah, but I turned in my Surface Pro, so
Oh,
see,
gotcha.
I'm waiting for it to
Okay.
come back, but yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. So,
Jesse, I'll provide you with the instructions for that as well.
okay.
Yeah. Albert,
Thank-
do you
thank
just want to send them out to everybody again? So that we would have it.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. So yeah, I mean, because there's times when I'm not in the local area or out and about and I got to log into something else too. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Tripp. Well, we'll go ahead and table this item then for the following meeting. And again, I will try to attend. That one I'll probably still let you lead, but I'll try to just at least be in attendance. But I'll let you know how that goes as well. All right, so that one's moved forward for item G. Item H is going to be the 2026 City Council Retreat Planning Committee. Mr. Tripp, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Council, annually, the City Council seeks to hold a council retreat during the first quarter of the year. In support of that particular process, the item before you asks 3 council members to volunteer to serve on a planning committee. This committee will be responsible for putting together, planning the event, developing a proposed agenda for it, and then reporting back to the City Council for concurrence. So this evening, the council is asked to identify and appoint at least 3 members to serve on the planning committee.
Man, Albert, I did have a question about that. We have a budget for travel and expenses, correct? As a council still under the current budget. I know it's minimal, but I know that, typically we don't use that a whole lot unless it's for city action days or for something else. Because Mr. Millay and I used it when we went out to do research and development for a project all the way. We traveled to Minnesota on that. So I just want to make sure if that budget is there any way that we can kind of roll that into, something for the retreat as well, if we don't have, other monies to pull from?
No objections.
Yeah, I mean,
Correct. You're correct. There is a dollar amount.
yeah,
You're correct.
it's minimal.
There's a dollar amount budgeted annually.
When
Yeah.
does this committee meet?
Yeah, and then you have really bad internet there, Mr. Tripp. You are frozen and can't hardly hear you. It's cutting in and out. So yeah,
I'm turning my.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Tripp.
Oh, in response to your other question, that is correct. There's a dollar amount budgeted annually. I believe it's $7,000 for 2026. That's set up for council training and travel. It is available, just as you noted, to be utilized for this particular purpose as well. Mr. Camacho, in terms of when would this committee meet, it would be up to the committee members. So on a date and time that works for the 3 members, we would then just seek to get together and start planning out the upcoming retreat.
Yeah, and the only reason why I asked that is because I know I've utilized it in the past. I know it's there, and with the budget being constrained the way it is already, if we can use those funding sources to get together and to help produce just a good path forward, work with our department heads, kind of do whatever we can, that would be my suggestion, that we pull from stuff that we typically don't use anyways, that just gets rolled into the next year's budget, or we'll go elsewhere anyways for this committee. And that way we can, hopefully have, a decent kind of, hey, let's get away from the city. Let's have, a decent meal. Let's have, a good ability to environment to sit down with our department heads and kind of just be able to relax and get some business moving forward.
Do we use that same budget for like AWC training?
Albert, is that the same budget for the
Yeah,
AWC
correct.
stuff?
It's one and
Okay.
the same, both for the AWC training, any type of state training, and something you should also be aware of as well. On the 26th, the council will hear a proposed federal legislative agenda, and it's yet to be determined if someone goes back to DC. And so that same budget that's used to support any travel back to DC in support of that
Would that budget be cumulative if we carry it over to the following year, or does it stay at the same amount? Say if we didn't use 7,000.
From last year into
Right.
this year would it roll over? I
Is
actually
it
have never
cumulative
asked that
or do
question.
we just
I think
lose
it
it and
ju- it
start
just-
at 7?
It just gets absorbed at that point, right? Yeah, it just gets absorbed into the regular G fund or into the regular general fund and gets dispersed. So, I mean, I'm more than willing, even later on, if we do, want to go out to Washington DC, I can pay for my own tickets. I don't mind that, as far as airfare or whatnot, but I know it becomes a nightmare if every person is doing something different, flying at different times, rental cars, everything else. So I just lay it on the table. If we want it, it's there. Right. But we also have to be mindful of other events that we may want to do throughout the year and kind of pick and choose.
Because I know that I've used, that funding for a lot of AWC. I mean, I think
Okay.
I went to 3 AWC
Trainings.
events. Yeah, and they were all out of town.
Yeah.
Except for the one that was downtown. But hotel and mileage and gas and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I mean, they're there, for us to utilize as we see fit to either go to trainings, especially for the newer members. I don't think I've used it other than going to DC when Mr. Tripp this last year, and which was absolutely an amazing trip. And Miss Morton, you attended that one as well. And I mean, so yeah, however we want to use it, but as far as the committee is concerned for the retreat planning committee, we're looking for 3 council members to be on this. And if we had a 4th, it would constitute an actual regular meeting. So we couldn't, there's a quorum issues. So who would like to be on the committee? Is there anybody who this kind of just jumps out at them? Ms. Morton? All right, so we have 1. Anybody else? Macho? All right. Anyone else?
I can do it if no one else would like to.
All right. Yeah. So that gives us our 3 members, and then I'm assuming we don't have to vote on this since it's not a official committee, or should we?
Go ahead and vote to that committee. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. If I can get a vote to come forward for not just the creation of this committee, but also for granting the 3 members that raised their hand. Council, what say you?
Move to approve the retreat planning committee.
And the 3 members.
And the 3 members.
All right. Any questions or comments? Huh? Or second? All right. And then,
Second.
okay. And then can you hear us real well? And did anybody online want to actually be on the committee? I just want to make sure everybody has a fair shot. You're good? Mr. Campbell?
I'm good.
Okay. And then Sandra, are you good too?
I'm absolutely good.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I have motion approving the committee and then the 3 members. And I have a second. Mr. Camacho. All right. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. That passed unanimously. That'll move us on to the Planning Commission reappointment for Mr. Michael Young. Mr. Becker is not here today. So Mr. Troutman, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. As you recall, Mr. Young was appointed to fill the remainder of a term of the Planning Commission due to resignation. So that position is expiring on January 31st of this year. We're recommending reappointment of Mr. Young for a 4-year term expiring on January 31st of 2030.
All right, council, what would we like to do about this item?
I move to approve the appointment of Mr. Young.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, thank you,
second.
Ms. Morton. Any questions or comments on the reappointment? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. All right, that'll move us on to item J, which is the request for council consideration to approve the on-call services contract agreement for municipal engineering services. Mr. Fish, the floor is all yours.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Council. My name is Pete Fish, Project Manager with Public Works, and I'm here tonight to follow up on last week's study session item regarding the adoption of the on-call support services contract. Historically, the city of Airway Heights is contracted primarily with one consultant for municipal engineering support services. Moving forward, Public Works Department desires to expand this process to include 5 on-call consultants. This new process would give the city flexibility in matching the best consultant for any given project. In late summer of 2025, the city put out a request for qualifications. And in October 2025, Public Works received 8 statements of qualifications from some of the area's most qualified consultants. After reviewing the submittals, 5 consultants were selected, which will provide Public Works with a well-rounded team. 3 were chosen for standard municipal engineering and 2 for traffic-related engineering. Public Works feels this setup will help us accomplish the goal of becoming more efficient and transparent. Each contract will be in the amount of not to exceed $1 million. Contract's term will be for 1 year with 3 one-year extensions to not exceed 4 years in total. Funds for these contracts will come from the appropriate sources such as project grant or loan reimbursements, utility fund, and or street funds. City will issue individual task orders for the specific work to be completed. Council will approve each task order as they are developed. Attached in as example agreement for professional services. This is a universal contract for 5 separate consultants. Also attached as an example task order that would be tied to the contract with the consultant the city is seeking professional services from. Any questions regarding this item?
Yeah, I did have a question. So as far as the actual individual contracts, let's say it's for, one project within itself, are we actually going to approve that contract to go out for services?
Yes, we would negotiate for a time and material and a cost estimate for that. Develop a scope of work, develop a cost estimate for that, and that would go back to the council for approval.
Okay, so it's just not a blank check for $1 million. I know.
No,
I know. I just want to make sure that everybody is, communicated that we will have a say in every.
Yeah, no, not at all. We want to be able to go out and have different contracts.
Absolutely.
And then come straight to you.
The on-call intention is to have people ready. And when we have work, we identify which one is going to be the best for us. Where in the past, we struggled with timing and getting timely responses back. So this allows us to kind of control our destiny a little bit more is what we are expecting of this process. And then once we identify that workload, it becomes that task order basically. So we have a parent contract that we've agreed to not to exceed, but individually, that's where the dollar amounts come to council in terms of, and that's how we will be monitoring and managing all 5 contracts to make sure we, of course, don't exceed our ability here from any 1 year.
Yeah, it just alleviates bottlenecks and
exactly
timeframes that are, just blown out for months on end.
Yeah.
So
the intention is transparency with everybody as well as flexibility for the city.
All right.
So my understanding is this is probably the first time we've done something like this. So, and then this 1 year will give us a chance to see exactly how that program works as far as transparency and our funding. So I think that's essential to the city's operation. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it also breeds fair competition as well. So it gives, 5 different companies a fair shot at, depending on their wheelhouse and which one's going to be an expert in said field. But it also, I like the competition factor in that as well a little bit. Just so, but yeah. All right, Council, what would we like to do? If there's no other questions, anything online? Mr. Campbell, you good? Okay. All right.
Move to approve.
Not seeing any. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, got you. That passed unanimously. Okay, next item is item K for the STA agreement. Ms. Miller, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council. Item number K is an existing agreement with STA, Spokane Transit Authority, where we entered into agreement around the 6th Avenue project. They were going to come in as a funding partner, and they've been a great funding partner for us. The contract ended December 31st, and the actual project is kind of finishing over next year. So we needed to extend the contract just to make sure we had coverage to the full completion of the project. There was also some minor damage that occurred once we opened the project to traffic that STA buses created. So this agreement is amending the agreement to include, they acknowledge that it was their buses that did the damage, and they acknowledge that they will be paying for it, and they asked if they could pay for it through this existing agreement. So that's what's in front of us tonight, is expanded the time into next year, as well as acknowledging additional costs will be coming out at 100% to STA. They were a funding partner at a percentage for the overall project, but this particular damaged area will be 100% theirs to pay.
Easy accounting on their end.
There you go. Yes.
All right, Council, what would you like to do about the STA agreement?
Do we need to put an end date? Like you said, it ended 12/31. Is it just saying for the next year? So it'll be 12/31 of
Right.
this year? Okay.
It goes into next year. December 31st, 2026 is the actual amendment.
Okay, and is there a plan on when they plan on providing the funding to fix it, or?
If all goes well, we're actually first going to attempt to use our existing contractor, if that's a possibility. And they're already obviously set up to do work in that area potentially. So we'll seek that one first.
For Norfolk.
And once we get billed from Norfolk, we'll just turn that bill over to STA.
All right. Awesome. Okay, Council, what would you like to do about the STA agreement?
Move to approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Carrie, any comments outside of that? Nope. All right, all those in favor? All right, that is approved unanimously. That'll move us on to item L, which is the Garfield and US 2 water line crossing design work. Ms. Moore, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council. So the Garfield Roundabout is part of our larger US 2 multimodal project phase 2 that goes to Garfield itself. Our consultant, Century West, has been doing the design work of the roundabout. During that design process, the discussion of trying to get more connections for our water lines, our utility conversation came up to get more water line connections across US 2, and this major intersection to take it down for construction is the opportune time to make sure that we have a water line crossing at the same time, rather than doing that work coming back and closing effectively a major intersection down for a utility project. So what we're trying to do is do it all at once. And this contract work order is to expand their project design scope to include the water line design.
This is just right there, the McDonald's and.
Correct, right there at McDonald's. So this would be extending through this change order to $22,045 or $405, 92 cents to do the design work for, again, that water line project.
And when is this project slated for?
So the slating for the project is very much connected to the construction costs. And we were recently informed the construction costs were assessed, and our original estimate didn't pick up some of the elements they actually found during design. So our cost did go up, and right now I have a little bit of a gap that I'm working on in terms of coming up with construction dollars. So I've been working with our funding agencies, TIB being one of them, our Transportation Improvement Board, our state funding, in discussions with them right now. But I've also asked Century West to make sure that they have sharpened their pencil to make sure that they do give me a number that when I do go out and ask for an increase, it doesn't increase from there, if that makes sense. So I want a good number. So we want to make sure all of that are design proceeds to the point that we feel very comfortable that their cost estimates can be within reason of what we expect for a bid to come in at. So when we go back to your question, we are, I think we're slated for 2026. That is not going to happen at this time. And I won't be able to tell you when in terms of my crystal ball and when I'm going to find my money, but I'll keep you informed in terms of where we're at in this process.
On the list.
It's definitely on the list.
Okay. All right. Council, what would we like to do about the Garfield and US 2 water line design work?
I've got a question.
Sure.
How long is the project going to take? I just wanted to ask that because it's, in a major.
Oh, it is. And it would
Major.
actually, like I'm sure the last roundabout experience where half the road was shut down and the other half was open. I assume it'll be a similar experience. I'd have to get back to you. I'll give you a council an email on that in terms of what we're expecting for timing for this one.
Yeah, I go to KFC a lot, so.
But we'll definitely have detours in place for everyone.
Yeah.
So
And then, as far as I remember, that's one of two that are remaining on US 2 because we have the other one on Craig Road, correct? That is slated for a future.
correct. The tribe's
Install.
got the one on Craig Road in terms of we're monitoring that with them in terms of the next project after.
Okay. And then those are the last two, right? Correct.
Right.
Of roundabouts for our area. We got 5
Highway
more.
2.
Well, we do have Hayford at some point, but we increased.
So the ones that are most imminent time-wise is the Garfield in US 2 and the Craig in US 2. There are also roundabouts proposed at Lawson in US 2 and Lundstrom in US 2.
Okay.
Hayford's as is. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. It's
For
too
now.
involved
We're
forever.
in the capital program. We are seeking to do a roundabout down, I believe, at McFarland and Hayford.
Yeah, no, we got
Okay.
roundabouts on 21st and Hayford,
21st and
McFarland and
Hayford.
Hayford.
So we do have
Figuring
some.
out.
Exactly.
Kind of that
north-south
bypass area.
Yes. Mhm.
But US 2 and Hayford, that's as is.
Yes, the determination years ago through study with Washington State Department of Transportation was that intersection was maxed out as far as ability to have right of way. So 3 years ago, the southbound to left turn lanes were added to assist with ease of movement there. But that's one of the major premises behind building the parallel network north and south of US 2 is to create local traffic access on the 6th, 10th, 12th corridor and eventually on the 21st Avenue corridor.
And that's still slated for a bypass, correct?
Those are both still part of the county's plan, City of Spokane's plan, and City of Airway Heights plan, and WashDOT's plan to support those laterals for development.
Okay.
The question that came up while we were discussing this came to mind is obviously WashDOT's a big driving force to have these roundabouts since they control the US 2. Is there any kind of timeline that says, hey, these roundabouts need to be put in by X time, or are they flexible with our schedule and the other water
Our
main
timing
projects?
is tied to our granting agencies, and they all usually have some time window that we have to work within. So it's tied more to the grants versus a DOT, if you will, specifically. Obviously, we do get funds through Washington State DOT, but they're not all coming from there.
Many of these projects are envisioned in long-term plans because of the tie to essentially state and federal funding with tens of millions of dollars that need to be put together through grant applications to fund these improvements.
All right. Well, thank you guys for both of you for answering the questions. Yeah, there's a lot of changes on US 2 because I know many moons ago when I was on the planning commission, we approved the beautification project of the corridor of Highway 2, especially kind of from the McDonald's all the way down through by Craig Road there. And yeah, I know that a lot of times we're waiting even on the beautification for these grant opportunities and for these roundabouts to get built, because this will also help us fund, at least minor segments of that road as they go along too. So there's a lot of wheels turning and a lot of stuff at work, and you guys are absolutely amazing for keeping it moving forward, because I know there's a lot of moving pieces. So, all right. Any other questions? All right, so we had a motion.
Move to approve.
All right, and then a second. Okay. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. That'll move us on to the adding non-employee contract fees to the 2026 salaries. Tara, the floor is yours, ma'am.
So we would like to add a contracted hourly rate to our salary schedule for any projects that come up where we need a project manager or a subject matter expert. Most notably, we're looking to an HRIS, which is the Human Resource Information System / payroll upgrade.
All right. Questions or comments?
So is this appointing someone internally?
No, we'd hire somebody or do a contract with somebody external to come in for the short stint, 3 to 6 month projects.
Okay, and you're asking for that to go to the hourly?
Correct. It would be an ad. It's currently not on our salary ordinance where we have all of the rates for our part-time and full-time employees. And so I just wanted to establish an hourly rate for when we do hire these contracted 1099 people, not employees.
And is that something once settled, like once you do the transfer to a different payroll system, it's not something that's permanent, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, council, what would you like to do about the contract fees for the 2026 salaries, adding the non-employee contract fees?
Move to approve.
I have a motion, I have a second. Thank you, Ms. Morton. Any questions or comments outside of that? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. Next couple items are going to be first reads of ordinance. Is there any ask to pass these on first read?
Quick question, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Item number N, we discussed with Albert being the water treatment plant operator. That was an action request email or briefing paper that you received.
Okay, so this one will require us to suspend the rules and take action on it this evening.
If that would be
Okay.
preferred, yes.
All right. So if I could get item N just read into, so first read of ordinance C-11126 and Easy Street, and then there is a request for action on this item after that.
Just clarification, both item N and O are not being requested for.
Okay,
action
so
this
no
evening.
action.
No, this is on the agenda that the 6th Avenue PUD preliminary plat. I think the council was being asked to add an item by suspending the rules and making a new item number 9 for.
Trying to stay within action item 11 section. And when I said N, I was referring to before the ordinance.
Okay, so that item that you guys wanted to bring in was also an additional action item. It didn't fall under the ordinance or resolutions.
Correct. You'd be adding one more item under action items and before ordinances.
Okay, well, would we like to address that last action item before we go into item N, or?
Please do.
Okay, well, that'll bring us to the water treatment plant operator in training. And then Ms. Miller, the floor is yours. Okay,
Thank you, council.
we are all on the same page now.
Council taking the time to be aware of this topic. So our well number 9, as we all know, once PFAS was found, Fairchilds went out and put what we call a granular activated carbon filter, a GAC filter on the system. Before that filter was in place, the city of Spokane city of Airway Heights, was not required to hold a water treatment plant operator certification. If not for PFAS, we would not be required to have this operator requirement. So when it happened, we had an operator at the time that did happen to have the operator treatment plant operator 1 certification. They have since left. This is during the time that GAC filtration was first put on and things were just beginning to operate. One of the key elements when Fairchilds went in and put the GAC filtration in there was they had put in place with the city signing an access agreement that was really specific that said you cannot touch the GAC filtration system in terms of once they set it up, they didn't want anybody physically touching it. This is where our problems started to be created when we brought in a new water lead for the city of Airway Heights. They were given temporary status as this, I'm going to call it the WTPO 1. That's the operator 1 certificate. They gave them a 1-year temporary license to get through an exam period and gain the experience. You can't gain experience if you can't touch the equipment. So we've kind of gotten into a little bit of a catch-22. So Department of Health has come down and asked for this, and we've been in conversation. You've got a state and you've got a federal group that we're working with. The federal group doesn't necessarily recognize state processes because they're the federal government, of course. So we've been trying to coordinate and work between how do we make this work. So obviously the city has been very diligent. Our operator took the test, passed the test, and we've been working through this last component. We feel like we are there in the sense of working with Fairchild's offline in terms of Fairchild in the city of Airway Heights is having conversations, and we're also having conversations with Department of Health, make sure both parties are we're addressing both parties' needs. In terms of Department of Health, that's what I've kind of outlined at the bottom there in terms of kind of a two-part solution that we're going to be looking to hire a water treatment plant operator 2 who will have the authority to train the 1, which is all we need to hold is a 1. So for a 1 year, well, we're going to do a 14-month contract. So we're going to extend beyond a year because it's going to take time to ask for a certificate and make sure we have coverage while they're processing the request, those kind of things. So we're looking for a 14-month person that can be our official certified person as they also train our person. This person will obviously have experience in other GAC filtrations, so we can get cross-training going with them. As again, we're also paralleling a conversation with Fairchilds as well to make sure we end up having that level of access we need to finish this loop, if you will, out. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure how you want to look at this. Anyhow, Department of Health has put a violation notice on us and wanted to take action. So we have responded with our action plan as of last week to them. We're still waiting to hear back if they accept our action plan, which again is effectively what I've described. We want to hire this WTO PO 2 certificate person that we can then use as our certified person for the year, for the 14 months, as again, while that training happens. And while this is going on, we're concurrently again, working with Fairchilds. So what I'm looking for council is just approval to go out and seek that water treatment plant operator 2 person, bring them back hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks max. So again, we can show Department of Health we are taking action. The next step for Department of Health is to turn it over to the Attorney General's office to take official legal action against us. So we've asked them to postpone that and give us that 3 to 4 week grace period while we put the person in place, and then again, continue to work the other items.
All right, and then funding source of this one, and then can you kind of go over the amounts and whatnot?
So funding source, I don't have a total number yet. We believe it'll be between 40 and 60,000 total. But until we get through negotiations and come back to council, I won't have that exact number for you.
Okay.
But this, of course, would be out of our water rates in terms of, because it is required out of the water system to have this certified person.
All right, and just to be clear, this is only a requirement because of the contamination.
Correct. We
Okay.
have our certifications for our water system already. It's when you get to a treatment, and a GAC system is treatment.
Okay.
So our water system certifications we've always had, obviously no problem running. We have pumps and tanks and pipes and everything else that we're required to have certification around. That's been in place for decades, clearly. But it's once that filtration, that treatment system went in place, that's when the requirement from Department of Health came in play.
Okay.
We, of course, made the argument that it should be Fairchild, but that's where you get into the federal versus state conversation. So we didn't want to, again, get into a violation while these bigger conversations were going on. So we want to make sure we have action. And of course, we're also working with our PFAS lawyers, and we'll make sure that all of these costs do get put on our ledger sheet, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, that was the question that I just asked Dan, if that was one of those things that we could potentially ask for reimbursement on, because
it certainly will be part of our ultimate claim
Okay.
in terms of our costs. If not for PFAS, we wouldn't have to
Okay.
endure
Thank
these
you.
costs.
I have a question and some good knowledge for our new members as well. So since now we have a long-term agreement with the city of Spokane to steadily increase our allotment from them, dependent on infrastructure improvements and funding, basically because it's the pumping and the size of the straw to get the water here. Do we anticipate needing this GAC filtration in peak months indefinitely, even though as our water increases from Spokane? Or do we ever foresee potentially not needing it?
You know, I wouldn't say that at all in terms of we have water rights in this water system and we should make sure that we lay claim to that, even though it is obviously polluted right now, but that has a large value for the city of Airway Heights that we want to maintain. So I just can't tell you how it's going to play out yet in terms of ultimately right now, as you just mentioned, the GAC filtration system only works through the summer months. It really is helping the peak of the system. That's when obviously you get the most water use is during your summer months. So effectively it runs June through October. We kind of watch that freeze, a cycle in October and close it at that point. But those are the months we're working right now. And yes, it's still an open question how to think about this into the future to continue it as a peak only or to turn it into a 24/7. Now, the way they put in the system, you physically can't run it over the winter because it's not winterized. It doesn't have any heated elements around the system. It would freeze and break. So that's why we don't have it working through the winter. Again, it's more cost in terms of to the city to.
Yeah, and I mean, just for clarification too, when previous councils have discussed this matter, the idea is to not forever treat. I mean, at some point asking to be whole, what is, that wholeness, right? And we had a water source previously that was safe to drink. And, it's always been of our idea that we would love to have, another source of clean drinking water for the city. So these are just items that we have to do. In the midst of that, I mean, we currently, we have not had that well online, correct? Or we've only had it online for certain periods.
So just well 9 only works with the GAC filtration in the summer months, that June to October.
Yeah, so I mean, mainly we're only using it when we absolutely need it or when we have the requirement for. But yeah, the entire idea is to, hopefully at some point get a safe water source for our constituents as well. And also having Mr. Beinecker on that, kind of on the, I don't know if you want to call it committee or another, creating his position to also represent kind of the city and work with us as a liaison through the Restoration Advisory Committee and through, these other resources to provide that for us. It's all super important and it is very much, something that we don't want to put a Band-Aid on a problem. We'd rather have a permanent and actual source of clean drinking water for our city. So it's just the necessary steps here. So when we tell people, yes, we have filtration systems, people look at me like, well, why are we just filtering it instead of asking for, other resources or other items? So, and we're also working with the county, we're working with Fairchild, we work with everybody we possibly can to identify and, what's the cost, what can we do? But there are time periods on this too. We just had to spend 14 million and some change on, additional water rights and whatnot. And so, I mean, I think that this is also something during a retreat or whatnot that we can also brief on to get everybody up to, just up to the, educated and, hey, this is what's going on with it. This is why, this is what past councils have done. This is the direction we're moving towards. So any questions or comments?
So
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Either one.
So the line item, as far as like the salary, was that figured into, I'm assuming, water treatment budget? Is that on this year's, or is that having to be pulled from somewhere else because it wasn't something we were thinking that had to be done?
It wasn't captured in this year's budget, but we will be looking at our reserves in terms of handling this issue.
Okay.
And it's a personal services contract in terms of we're hiring a third party. So this isn't a city employee that we're hiring. They're just representing.
Not the company or something.
Correct.
To train.
Exactly.
Okay. Mr. Camacho?
Is Fairchild funding any of this? I mean, it all started with this PFAS and stuff. Are they absorbing any of the costs?
Well,
to what we need to spend, or I'm just shooting from the hip, but I'm just curious.
Just to clarify, they are paying for every year the filters get replaced and new ones get put in, and then they do monitor it throughout the operational season in terms of the water quality testing that happens every month on the piece. So they are paying into that piece. It's when you look at the language of the state requirement says the water system purveyor is required to have the certification. So they're claiming, well, it's the city of Airway Heights water system. And we're saying, of course, well, if not for PFAS, we wouldn't have this treatment piece. And that treatment piece, potentially, in our opinion, is a standalone system. And therefore, they should have the certification. That's the sticking point around that topic with Fairchild.
And then also to further answer your question, we'll go ahead.
The city has litigation pending against the federal government on this and against, we settled with one manufacturer of PFAS, and then litigation is ongoing against the second manufacturer.
So that there's, I mean, we can schedule a briefing. We do have our own separate counsel on that can provide us an update as well on how everything's going.
Yeah, I've taken a look at a lot of documents, and I mean, you guys have been sitting here since day one, so I was just curious because it's only right that they absorb something. And one more question, just out of curiosity, how many hours of training is required for this certification?
So it's considered 12 months. I don't know if they break it down to hours, but you have a year's experience to show for it. And again, by hiring this certified 2-person, we'd be able to have them certify that R1 has the qualified 12 months of experience.
Well, and it only makes sense, and I can understand why we need hands-on. I mean, without hands-on, you're not going to get certified in anything. So that's good. Thank you.
You betcha.
All right. Any further questions or comments? All right, not seeing any. Council, what would you like to do about this item?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right. Thank you on the second. No questions or comments. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously.
Thank you, Council. We'll be back shortly.
All right, thank you so much. All right, now that'll move us on to ordinances. Both of these items do not require any suspension of the rules or anything. They are first reads. They will be brought back to us at a later date. Traditionally, if something does have to be passed on a first read, we will suspend the rules for that, and then we can pass them on a first read, but that's not being asked for this evening. So item N is the first read of ordinance C-1112, the 6th and Easy Street PUD plat. So if I could please get that read into the record.
Ordinance number C-1112, an ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, providing approval with conditions for the 6th and Easy Street planned unit development, LUA 2025-0001, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto.
Oh, thank you. This was briefed to the city council back on the 12th of January. This is with regards to a planned unit development over on 6th and Easy Street. A PUD by state law is actually a rezone, so it's a contract rezone for a specific piece of property. The developer had requested certain modifications to the underlying zoning for the project in exchange for providing additional amenities. In this particular case, they're proposing, for example, private streets, and they're proposing to include additional open space in the property. So this is just a first reading of the preliminary PUD for this piece of property. And when this comes back on February 2nd, that will be a combination of what's called a second reading. And it also is a time where the council takes public comment on the PUD ordinance, and we request action of the council at that meeting. So it does mean public testimony as well as action that night. Any additional questions?
No? All right, everybody good? Moving forward. We'll see it back in a couple weeks. Okay. All right, that'll move us on to the first reading of ordinance C-1113, Airway Heights Municipal Code 2.32, establishing the prosecutor's office. If I could please get that read in the record.
Ordinance C-1113, an ordinance of the city of Airway Heights, Washington, adopting a new chapter of the municipal code titled Chapter 2.32, Office of Prosecuting Attorney and other matters properly related thereto.
All right, Mr. Tripp, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Council, this is the first reading of an ordinance which would establish a prosecuting attorney's office, the purpose of which is to allow for the city to receive what's referred to as an originating agency number. This number in turn would be utilized for the city to receive remittances for those individuals, defendants that go through the municipal court who have fines attributed to them from a prosecution standpoint. With this number, the city could in turn receive those particular funds. This is the first reading of the ordinance. It'll be briefed again during your February 2nd council meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Any
Tripp.
questions?
Any questions or comments from Mr. Tripp? No, pretty straightforward. Okay. And that'll move us on to resolutions. Resolution 2026-001, eliminating petty cash. I suppose the floor is yours.
Resolution number 2026-001, a resolution eliminating the Airway Heights Finance Department and Recreation Department petty cash funds and providing for the effective date thereof.
All right, council, what would we like to do about the elimination of the petty cash?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Much for that. Any questions or comments? And then did we figure out if we're just gonna move it up to the nearest, just round up or round down or?
On the the penny.
Yeah.
We have not figured it out yet. We took it off. The next item is the administrative fee updates. It was on there, but it's being taken off of there for the additional questions that council asked last time.
Okay, so item Q is gonna be taken off?
There was two parts to item Q, 2 additions.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. All right, so I have a motion. Second. Any questions or comments? Seeing any, all those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. Now move us on to item Q, which is the administrative fee updates. Ms. Moses, the floor is yours one more time.
Resolution 2026-002, a resolution setting the administrative fees as provided for in the Airway Heights Municipal Code. And this is an update to add the traffic school for the police department. And we had removed the penny roundup for cash transactions in the rec center to a further time.
Okay. All right, council, any questions or comments? Like to do about item Q?
Move to approve.
A motion, do I have a second? All right, Ms. Morton, thank you so much. Any questions, concerns, comments? Not seeing any. All right, all those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. With that, I don't see any calls for transport benefit district. If there's anybody, I don't see any citizens. Are there anybody online? Not seeing any. Nobody signed up for comment, right? Okay. No call for a workshop, executive session, so we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:43 p.m. Thank you, everyone.